Alright guys, I wanted to take the time and do a video kind of the self-filming basics. I know back several years ago or a few years ago when I decided I wanted to get into filming my own hunts, I did research and I didn't feel like there was a great video out there covering it from end to end. So I'm going to try and do that, give you a few options, like maybe on the lower end of what you could get by with and still get some decent film. And then kind of on the higher end, I'm kind of right in the middle. You could get a little better camera than what I have, but I want to kind of give you the minimums of what I would get. So we're going to go through it here, and I'm going to show you how I get it to the tree, what it looks like once you get set up in the tree, and just kind of take you through the whole thing. One of the first questions everybody asks when they decide they want to get into filming is, what camera should I get? And a lot of people kind of decide that they want to get a cheap camcorder and like, well, I'll upgrade if I like it. And that works, but the problem is then you're stuck with a if you do like it, you're stuck with a camcorder you're not going to use, that you're not going to be able to get your money out of, and then you're going to end up buying again. So my recommendation to get some usable film, and it's also something you could use later if you like it, is one, I would get a GoPro. I've got two that I use. This one's just a Hero 3 Plus. I've also got a Hero 4. I would recommend the Hero 4. You can get those fairly reasonably now. And then this is a muddy micro mount. You can kind of see it'll work on an easy hanger as well as a screw-in tree step or one of those little screw-in hooks. And this is really good to put kind of over your shoulder. This will give you that over your shoulder view of what's around you, deer coming in. You're not going to be able to see much as far as the deer and stuff goes, but it really gives you a good shot of you in the tree. I think these are a must no matter what. So GoPros are always a good purchase. A lot of people want to take the GoPros and mount them to their bows, and they're just not made for that. They have no zoom. The standard setting is a real wide angle. I mean, a 20-yard shot looks like they're at 100 yards. So it works good for a second angle in the tree, and that's something even if you get serious into filming, you're gonna use GoPros and similar cameras all the time. I mean, I use them all the time. So that's a good thing to purchase that you're not gonna want to get rid of if you do like it. So that's a good way. And then as far as filming the deer when it comes in, these Tacticams right here, this is a 4.0 here. I think it's got a fixed you can do a 5 power zoom. It's got 3 options. You can do 2.7K, you can do slow motion, or you could do the 5x zoom. It does pretty good. You'll get good footage of the deer coming in. You'll kind of be able to tell what he is and stuff. It works good for that. I will say on the shot, obviously it's got some crazy vibration, and it's hard to really tell your point of impact on them, but it is a good option. And once again, if you do buy this, you know, kind of get you started, the GoPro and the Tacticam, once you upgrade and start using a different camera, then this is something you'll still use. So I think that's a great way to get started into filming. Tacticam just released a 5.0 just maybe last week, and I think it may have an 8x zoom, and they did some stuff to kind of help that vibration, so you may check that out. I would at least go with this 4.0, but that's a really good option. So that's going to be your kind of just getting started. I would at least do these two right here, and you're going to get some usable film out of them. Okay, so then maybe you're like, well, I like that and that's good, but I'd really like to have an actual camera. Well, that's where things start getting a little more expensive. The one thing I'll recommend, I started out with a Canon G20, which was a 10x zoom Canon model that still allowed me to use an external mic, which is good. You want to do that. But the number one thing, if you do get a camera, is you want a camera that you can use a Lank remote, so like a stealth Varizoom. Basically what that does, it is a remote that will allow you to zoom, focus, turn it on, start recording, all with the control of your thumb. I mean, it really makes it usable. There's guys that try and do it without that, and I commend them. That's way too hard for the average guy to try and do in the tree. I personally wouldn't want to do it, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. A lot of people want to try and use a DSLR for self-filming. I don't think it's a good idea, just because you can't use that remote. Most of your DSLRs have issues with autofocus and video mode. It's just not a great idea. Now, if you're a two-man team, a DSLR is great. You'll be hard-pressed to find something that shoots better quality video than that. So keep that in mind. The camera I'm currently using and I love is the Canon G40. It is kind of an updated version of the G30. It has a 20x zoom, which is huge. It really helps. That was one of the biggest things I upgraded. That G20 is a good camera. It's a little smaller than the G40, but that 10x zoom is really lacking in my opinion. What I would recommend, and how I bought both of my cameras, is I went on to Canon's website, and they offer refurbished models, and they'll come in a Canon box, you know, just like you bought it brand new. It'll have batteries. I couldn't even tell that either one of them had been used whatsoever. I mean, they just looked perfect. I want to say you can get the G40s now around $800 or so, and that is expensive. I agree, but it's, as far as video cameras in the hunting industry, that's a good camera that will produce TV quality or internet quality video. There's a lot of hunting shows that use them from time to time. So that's one I really recommend. The G40 is a great one. They've also got another one, maybe the G21. There's another one they just come out with that doesn't have the Wi-Fi capabilities and stuff of the G40, which honestly I never use. You may check that one out too. I'm not sure on the price. I wouldn't recommend getting the 4K camera unless you have a really good computer to edit it. It is really hard on computers. So I would look at the Canon stuff. They're very user friendly. Check out that G20 or even an older G30 if you can find a used one, would be a great way to get into it. But I can't recommend the G40 quite enough. I'll post up, I'll add some pictures in of my camera. It's not very big. It's a great camera. I can't recommend it enough. Alright guys, we're gonna mix it up here. This is recording this on the GoPro Hero 4. This is no microphone. I've just got a skeletonized case on it, and as you see, it's pretty decent audio. You can add some external mics and stuff, but I wanted to take this and show you the camera here. This is my G40. I've added a Canon Campbell skin there, and I don't really care about the camo, but what that really does is it really protects the camera from getting scratched up. My old G20, I didn't put the skin on it right away, and it really got scratched up in and out of my pack, so I would recommend that. This is a Rode microphone. I think you can get in one of those for about 90 bucks. I can't recommend them enough either. They're very good quality microphones, and you'll see them all throughout the industry. Anytime you see microphones, Rode is a staple of that. So this one's a little smaller. I paid a little more for it. I think it's up in the $200 range. I want to go over just a second if you decide you don't want to do the Tacticam and the GoPro, the basic method, which you're going to want a GoPro at some point for that second angle. Those multiple angles is really what sets your videos apart. But as a bare minimum, just to get started and get filming, what you need is to get a camera. So look at that Canon G30, 40, maybe 21. I would recommend something with a 20x zoom, and that Lank, and it's spelled L-A-N-C, remote is a must. You've got to have that output, absolutely have to, in my opinion. There'll be guys that say I do it without it, but in just my opinion, I've done it both ways. It'll make your life much easier self-filming. It'll make it much easier. So you want the camera, you want to get that Lank remote. I use the VariZoom Stealth, or Stealth VariZoom. I'll show you that in a minute. And then you're going to need a camera arm, which I've tried several different ones. I started with a Muddy Outfitter, then I went to the 4th Arrow stiff arm and added an extension, and didn't really like it. It had some good features, but it was a little clunky for me. I didn't like having to use the tool to set that shoulder. The standard stiff arm was a little short on reach. You really had a hard time wrapping it around your body. And then when you added the extension, it really made it all out of whack when you got it way out extended. So it's a good design, but I just don't think they're quite there yet on the 4th Arrow stuff. But that's my opinion. There's a lot of guys out there using them and really liking them. Currently, I'm using this Muddy Hunter, which is not light. It is super heavy duty. I carry a little more weight to have that solid arm in the tree. So once you get your arm, then your next thing you're going to need is a fluid head, which I use the Manfrotto. I think it's a MV500AH. Also big, also heavy duty. You can get by with less. They have some smaller, lighter weight ones. But see, I run a camera, a monitor, different things. I wanted something that I could use no matter if I upgraded to a big, huge camera later down the road. It would handle anything I throw at it, and that one does. So Manfrotto, you can't go wrong. No matter what, buy that for your fluid head and you'll be totally happy. So now, as we went through some of this stuff, you're probably thinking, how in the heck am I going to get that in the woods? And that is the one negative to filming. You've got to have a strong back. You can get creative and kind of get it down to a bare minimum, but it's just going to be heavy. For me, and I don't care to carry the weight, I want to get that good film. For me, I carry this Lone Wolf Alpha and 4 sticks, and then with my filming gear and everything, I'm in the mid-50s on weight. I'm running about 55 pounds. So you'll see here, I've got this one. This is my setup, like I'm going in the woods in the morning. And this is the Badlands Camera Day Pack, and I'll go through it in just a minute. I love it. It's perfect for early season. I can fit just a little bit of hunting stuff, and all my filming gear works out good. But the key to all of it are those Molly backpack straps and kidney belt. That is a must. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up on a tree and show you how I set it up. I'll go through it piece by piece, show you how I have everything packed in there. And as you'll see with this pack, it's laid out really good, and as you pull stuff off the pack, it's kind of in the order it needs to go on the tree. So it works really well for me. I love it. So we're going to put it on this tree behind me and see if I can show you guys a little bit. So we got our base hanging from our hook here, just like this. And our next thing we're going to do is we're going to ratchet that dude in there. So the way this pack's laid out, which I really like, but it's got everything. You got one main compartment here, and it comes with some dividers. So we got one main compartment. It's got these dividers like so, and I've got my monitor. I use a big monitor as well, but it's here. And then I've got this big main compartment down here, and I've got, right now, normally I would have both of those GoPros in here, and the last thing I'll have on top is this ratchet strap for my base. So if you'll notice how that pack was laid out, the first thing we take off is on the very outside. So we take that off, put that on. You can get to the hooks up here. This is always accessible. You get the base hanging by a hook. The next thing I got is my ratchet strap. You'll just feed the ratchet strap through that slot around the tree and tighten it down. And just like that, we've got our base installed. I mean, this thing, you could literally hang a truck from it. I think it's very well made. So now we're back to the pack. So we've got everything out of there for the moment. Then we've got our arm. Once again, it's on the outside, easy to get to. They did a really good job with these straps. as you'll see, it zigzags here. Let me show you. I really need another set of hands. But you can see that strap zigzags over, and it holds it very tight. You know, it stays just like that. So it would be buckled, you know, like so. Where this pack is so short, it's got an extra little drop down. I think it's actually like a rifle holder or whatever. So it does a good job of holding this and making sure it doesn't stick way out above the pack. I like that. So we take it out and we drop it in, and it just slides down in there like so. And you'll notice we've got a level there. Obviously it's out. My level here is just a little off for what's actually level. They didn't get it set in there quite right, so, but thankfully Manfrotto is awesome, and they put a little level on the back here. So you got 2 points of reference. So I'm gonna level this up. What's really cool is you got your vertical adjustment here. You know, you just spin it whichever way you like. Works out good, which in this case I need to go down. I'm doing it fast. You can actually do it a little quieter. You want to keep those threads lube too, and it'll keep that squeaking to a minimum. Alright, so then to level us left and right, you loosen these guys. Loosen one, and then you loosen the other, and it keeps tension on it so it doesn't just like fly loose. I mean, it's a super nice setup. So that should be close. Yep. Alright, so there we go. We've got an arm and the base attached to the tree. Next thing I like to do, which I would normally attach my camera, but I'm filming with it, so we're going to go through the rest of the motions here. This is my handle for the fluid head, and as you'll see there, it's got that Stealth Zoom by VariZoom controller. So this is the brains of the operation. This is what you have to have. So this is your zoom. So you got forwards to zoom in, backwards to zoom out, focus, like so, on, and then record. And then they've got a deluxe model that's got some other controls on this side. I've contemplated getting that one in the past, but I think this works the best. This is really the only controls you need. The other features are like playback features if you're watching the video back and stuff, but I just touched the screen for that. But this is a must. This is a game changer. You can run the whole camera basically off one thumb, and I wouldn't do it without it. Well, here it is in all its glory. This is the setup. So I got my Field World monitor here, which I don't have a battery in it right now. So what I do is I run lithium batteries in my Rode mic, and it's got crazy run time on that lithium. So I just basically leave it on through most of the prime hours of the hunt. But you see a deer, if you don't have it on, I always switch this on, hit the power, hit on here. We're powered up. My monitor would be powered up by now, and you're filming just like that. Generally I keep my bow on the right side here, so generally I would have a hook, or I'm gonna buy one of those short easy hangers, and I would have my GoPro about right here. I'll show you something else cool for once you do get a GoPro, and I really like it, is I do this GoPro remote on my bow. So my bow's hanging here beside me like this. I can run the whole thing off of this remote, so it works out really good. So